welcome back to Racing Through Radio. I'm your host, Sam Moore, and I'm here to talk to you all about what's happening over at Ranceville Speedway this past Friday night. After a week off, and not because of the rain this time, we returned to our regular scheduled racing nonsense. For most of the week, I was actually unsure if we were going to be able to race this week. With consistent rain in the forecast, it was looking like this week was going to be a wash. In fact, even into Friday, I was expecting it to be a washout. Luckily, despite what the weatherman told us and how it was appearing outside, the sun would begin to crest out at about 3 p.m., and suddenly it was no longer cloudy, but insanely muggy and humid. Still not fantastic, but hey, we take what we can race in, not exactly what we'd vacation in. I think with the expected rain, a handful of drivers decided to take the night off because outside of the mini-stock cars, it looked kinda empty. Admittedly, a good handful of cars ended up showing up closer to 6 than they typically do, so that might have messed out my count a little bit. But holy cow, there was a whole lot of mini-stocks this week. I imagine it was for the memorial race as well as the kids' rides memorial they did during intermission, which was absolutely adorable. It was really cool just to watch that many cars in the feature. The sun was able to leach most of the wetness from the track before hot laps. However, by the heats, the trucks were out there wetting it once more. This left a lot of sportsman drivers a little uneasy, fearing they might end up crashing into the wall before the main event had even started. They weren't completely wrong, to be honest. There was a good handful of cautions throughout the night, as not just in the heats, but in the feature as well. On the bright side, through every crash there was, everybody looked okay. Kurt Rung and Cole Susie were in the front row of the Mackenzie Kuzula Memorial for the Sunflowers of Sanborn mini stocks, with Susie in the lead. The caution would come out as Matt Hornquist got loose in the front straightaway and collected 8 cars. On the restart, Wines would take the lead away from Susie, and James Gayton would make his way into third place. Gayton would pull on the infield with a flat rear tire on lap 7. Brad Whiteside would take over second place and would try to chase down Wines for the lead. The caution would come out on lap 12, however, as Maggie Guile and Nathan Powers got together on the front straightaway. The restart would see Wines and Whiten on the front row with Wines in the lead. Chris Whiteside would take over the lead with 6 laps remaining, and Chris Leone would take over second place. Whiteside would go on to win the feature.
Ready to take your home from the pits to the winner's circle? Rendell Painting and Renovation Services has the crew that will get you there. One call does it all. 845-5544. Race fans, take a pit stop at the Thousand Islands Cruet for olive oils and vinegars that will bring the taste of victory right to your kitchen. Dress your salads, marinate your meats. Visit them online, thecruet.com.
Noah Walker and Phil Vinegri brought the Crown Undercoating 358 Modifieds to the green flag for their 30-lap feature event, with Walker in the lead. Ryan Susie would battle with Chad Brackman for third place and then would immediately go after Vinegri for second. Gary Lindbergh would challenge Brackman for fourth place on lap 10, just as Susie took over second place from Vinegri. The leaders would encounter lap traffic on lap 18, and Susie would take over the lead. Matt Williamson would enter the top 5 on lap 20 as he passed Brackman. Williamson would then pass Vinegri for fourth place with 5 laps to go, but he wasn't able to advance any further. Ryan Susie would go on to score his second feature win of the season and his 20th career win at Ransomville Speedway in the division. Jack Bandsman and Abby Castile were on the front row of the Sterling Lubricant Dirt Car Sportsman feature event, with Bandsman showing the way ahead of Mike Camarance, Dave Conant, and Derek Wagner. Dave DePetro came to a stop on the front straightaway to bring out the race's first caution on lap 3. Cody McPherson would battle with Brett Senek and Derek Wagner for positions within the top 5. Brett Senek would take over second place on lap 9 and would go after race leader Jake Bandsman. Senek would take the lead from Bandsman on lap 11, and Wagner would enter second place overall just 1 lap later. McPherson would pass Wagner for second on lap 15 as Senek would increase the lead. Senek would go on to win his first win of the season and his 17th career win. It was actually super cool because I didn't know a whole lot of Brett Senek despite growing up with a handful of friends who were a big fan of Brett Senek. This week, I actually got to learn that he gets his number from Alan Willis and planned to take that number because when he was growing up, Alan Wills was his favorite driver. So he took the number in honor of him. However, it does look a little silly now with Alan Wills coming back to racing, but it's cool to be able to race alongside with your hero, knowing the number you picked was for him. I was also able to talk to Cameron Tuttle after this rain and pick his brain a little bit. A lot of the race, he was side by side by Justin McKay, fighting for position to get close. It was good, clean racing, no real contact, but it was super fun to watch.
To be honest, I didn't even know the race was over. We were battling that hard and just trying to hold on to it and put together a few good laps. And I got by him last lap, I think, 'cause then I seen the checkered fly and I knew it was over. But no, that was a good race, and there was a few other guys that I raced against that were also very good, and it was very fun. I guess you could say it was really hard fought.
I was able to ask him something I thought was a little fun. I'm a firm believer that good competition makes a better driver, and that's what everybody wants to do, become a better driver. And we have a super good roster in the sportsman division. So I wanted to see if there was anybody within that top 5 maybe he saw as clear competition, if he had a target set.
I think everybody here could agree it's Cody McPherson. He's won a lot here. He's won a lot at Maryville. He's winning everything he attends, so it's always a good challenge to beat him, and we're getting closer.
And luckily all the drivers are pretty good sport about it, so I imagine not being picked isn't a huge deal for anybody. But I think I'd be lying if I wasn't curious to see what Cody McPherson maybe thought. I just like to see how everybody kind of sees himself within that top part of the division, just because I do think when you know who you want to beat, maybe all that other stuff gets a little bit easier. Tyler Foster and Nigel Pendowski brought out the Kevin's Carpet Cleaning Novice Sportsmen to the green flag in their feature event with Foster in the lead. The caution would come out as Foster got loose and Pendowski made contact with Sheldon Gardner and Kyle Teeter, having nowhere else to go. Jocelyn Just would inherit the front on the restart. Pendowski would take over second on lap 4, and Cameron Rowlands would spin out in turn 2 to bring out the caution again. Just would lead on the restart with Pendowski racing in second place. Pendowski would take that lead away from Just on lap 10 and would drive away with his 7th win of the season. Now I'll admit, I was rooting for Jocelyn hard. I think Pendowski is an amazing driver, but I would love to see somebody just nab that spot away from him. And I think Just could definitely be the girl to do it. She's an amazing driver. She really shows off how much you can get done by just sticking with your lane and not worrying about other people on the track. She's grown so much since I started watching her last season. She really made Pendowski work around her if he wanted to succeed. And she put up a good fight for that first position. And I'm hoping it's something we actually get to see more of going forward.
Failed start on your home improvement project? Brendel Painting and Remodeling Services are here. Let them take you to the finish line. One call does it all. 845-5544. Need a pit stop for flavor? Stop in to the Thousand Islands Cruet for olive oils and vinegars to marinate your meats and elevate your eats. Find your checkered flag flavor online at thecruet.com.
Ransomville Speedway is back on for action next week as the Southern Ontario Sprints make their return to Ransomville Speedway for their only race on U.S. soil. The Kaipo Chevrolet Street Stocks will be racing their points finale this week as well. The vintage cars will be touching down on the track and making their annual appearance. Rounding out the rest of the racing cars is the Sterling Lubricant Dirt Car Sportsman and the Sunflowers of Sanborn Mini Stocks. Seems like a kind of bad week to miss, so if you're around, try to make your way here. The pit gates open at 5 p.m., grandstands open at 6 p.m., and the racing will get underway at 7:15. I hope to see you back at the track Friday, and if not, I hope to catch you here Sunday at noon. But regardless, if you're tuning in late, you missed any part of the episode, or maybe who knows, you just can't get enough of listening to old episodes of Racing Through Radio, Monday, you can find the full episodes listed on the WLVL website, as well as our More Family Racing YouTube channel.